Hello and welcome to Caravanning with the Missus. Thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing and all the rest. And don't forget, if you do want to subscribe, make sure you're not already subscribed. That would be great. Thanks very much. Okay, so today's little vlog, as you've probably gathered, is another update on Eric. And as you can probably tell from the thumbnail of this vlog, it's not good news. Unfortunately, we had to put him to sleep a couple of days ago on the 6th of January 2023. 6th, no, it was the 8th on Sunday. Yeah, so that's the conclusion. So for those that would normally skip to the end, there you go. And I'll just go into a little bit more depth. I am referring to my notes below. So yes, so unfortunately, so since the last vlog then, he was taking some steroids. He just started his course of steroids on the last vlog, so I was a little bit optimistic because he started eating, which was great. But unfortunately, that only lasted for a couple of days. He started eating for a couple of days, which was great. But then his build-up of fluid, he had this fluid that kept building up quite rapidly, really. So that made his belly swollen, and his rib cage was really sort of quite bulbous, which wasn't very pleasant. So after a couple of days on being on the steroids, he stopped eating again and then started to get wobbly on his legs, because apparently the liquid forming around his, well, wherever it was in his abdomen, that would stop the medications from working, so they were saying. So his heart meds stopped working, so that's why he started getting wobbly on his feet. And presumably he wasn't eating because he was just feeling pretty uncomfortable with it all going on. And unfortunately, it's the New Year's Eve didn't really help either, because fireworks were going all around us. And I mean, Eric usually deals with fireworks not too badly, but we did notice last firework night in November last year, 2022, that he was shaking a bit every time this particular firework, a sort of frazzly one, sort of went psh, like that. He started shaking a bit, so it's obviously fireworks started to affect him. But apparently the steroids stop him dealing with stress, apparently. So the vet sort of asked me, she sort of said, how was Eric with the fireworks? And unfortunately, one of our neighbours just had a relentless fireworks show. They just kept going on, banging away for about a good 20 minutes, it seemed. It was just non-stop. So Eric, the next day, on New Year's Day, I think that pretty much caused him because he was suffering from shock from all that, and couldn't show his shock any other way because he was on the steroids. He just stopped eating and he was just shaking most of the day on New Year's Day. So that might have contributed to his demise. So if you do put fireworks on, you might want to think about people with dogs, especially poorly dogs and poorly cats and other pets. In fact, other animals in general, to be honest. Obviously, fireworks cause them all sorts of stress. So yeah, now I'll get back to my notes. Yeah, so we phoned up the vet on New Year's Day because he was just shaking and not eating again, and she said that would probably be due to the fireworks and him not being able to deal with the stress with the medication. So we took him to the vet shortly after that, because his rib cage was really swollen. So we took him to the vet to see to that, in the hope that maybe they could release some fluid from it. But we took him in, and she saw the fluid and said, well, they weren't 100% sure what was causing it. Could be the heart, could be the liver, could be the Addison's disease, could be something else. So they weren't too sure what was causing all the fluid increasing, and it was building up quite a lot. So we took him into the vet, and she actually said that we might have to put him down that night. That was a few nights ago. In the last month, I mean, that's not the first time they've had to say that. They've said that a couple of times in the last month, that we might need to put him out, but we could try such and such. So when we saw the vet again this time, she said we might need to put him down again, but she'll phone up the referrals place and discuss it with them to see if there's anything else they can do. And they decided that it's probably worth doing another heart scan to see if it shows up anything else, to see if they can just change the medications based on what they see. on an updated heart scan. So we took him in the next day for a heart scan, which cost another £1,000. And it was more bad news. She basically said there was a sac around his heart. There's normally a sac around the heart, but apparently his sac was quite tight on the heart and restricting its movement a bit. So she said it could be that's causing the buildup of fluid. So anyway, she gave us some tablets to try and cause the fluid to drain on its own, and she also gave us some more tablets to try and give him his appetite back. So this time we're on about 8 tablets a day. So we took him away. That was on Friday. So we took him away from the cardiologist with the new medications, gave him those over the weekend, and still his belly was getting bigger and bigger, and he was still just not eating at all. And he wasn't sleeping. None of us were sleeping because he kept getting up during the night, just wandering around. Apparently when they do that, they just wander around and sort of stand there aimlessly. It just means that they can't get comfortable and they're getting a bit fed up with it all. So he was doing that a few times, obviously with his swollen belly. It's probably difficult to lie on. So yeah, so we had a tough weekend with him, and then on the Sunday we just decided, we thought, poor little thing's not getting any better. So we took him into the vet and asked them to put him to sleep, unfortunately. So as you could imagine, he was an integral part of our lives. So I'm just trying to keep it together. He was an integral part of our lives and went everywhere with us. So Sadie is inconsolable at the moment. She's just in tears all day. I get quite tearful every now and then, but I'm dealing with it a lot better than her. So Sadie wants to cancel obviously we were supposed to go caravanning last weekend. We didn't because he was too ill. Unfortunately, caravan's a bit of a double-edged sword, as you could imagine. It would be good to go in it to get away for a change of scene, to get away from the house. But then on the other hand, we had our best times with Eric in the caravan. So, yeah. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, especially we've got a trip to our favourite place, Sandy Gulls, booked in the summer. We've got a couple of trips booked, actually. And one of our outstanding memories of Eric was when we last went to Sandy Gulls and we opened the caravan door and he just jumped out and started doing this happy barking that he does, and just sort of spinning around because he was so happy. But yeah, that's one of our... Excuse me. That's one of our happy memories with Eric. So we're not sure. We might cancel our remaining trips to Sandy Gulls. I'm not sure. Anyway, as far as more caravan holidays are concerned, we're just going to wait to see when Sadie's ready, really, and we'll probably try and go places where we can focus on us, her and I. So, we might take in a nice vegan restaurant, something like that, something where we can spend some good quality time together, and hopefully it shouldn't remind us of Eric too much. So there we go. Sadie's decided she doesn't want another dog at the moment, and she doesn't think she will. I'm not too sure. Let's reconsider in maybe 6 months' time or something. But first of all, we need to get over this. Cost-wise, yeah, it pretty much wiped us out financially. Well, our immediate finances, it cost about 8k. Plus 3k on insurance as well. Insurance paid 3k. So as I said at the beginning of my last vlog, or the vlog before, I think if I did get a dog, I'd get more insurance for it, I think, because he was insured for 3k, and obviously that was just burnt out in the first weekend. Of course, the timing didn't help either, being around Christmas and New Year. It's all bank holidays, so everybody was just charging a lot more than they normally would as well. Unfortunately, we kept going in on Sundays as well. So yeah, that didn't help. So all in all, it cost about 11 grand. So what I'm going to do to make up our short-term finances is I've got a few more pupils starting with my driving instructor business. There's about 3 more pupils starting over the next couple of weeks. It's quite easy to get new pupils because they're pretty much ringing us up pretty much about 4 times a week. I get new people wanting driving lessons. So I've taken on 3 more. Normally each pupil earns me about £100 to £200 a month extra. So the 3 more pupils, that should be £300 to £600 a month extra, which I should get, and that'll help with our holidays, obviously paying for more holidays. So yeah, we're not going, in case anybody asks, we're not going to this year's Camping, Caravanning and Motorhome show in the NEC in February. We did consider it actually, because we got tickets from we got a leaflet from Caravan and Camping Club saying they were selling tickets for £9.50. So we actually thought about it then, but then we thought, well, obviously Eric's poorly, we'd need somebody to look after him and all the rest of that. And now they'd be sold out anyway. But yeah, and Sadie isn't able to think about anything. So there we go. That's pretty much about the size of it. So not too sure when the next vlog's going to be, or when we do go on holiday again next. Hopefully in the not too distant future. I'd really like to go away on holiday in probably about 2 weeks' time, but I know Sadie's not up for it yet, so we'll just wait until she's ready for it. We love camping in the winter as well. It's nice and cozy. And yeah, that would be nice. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Don't forget, if you do want to subscribe, then make sure you're not already subscribed, because like I said in the last vlog, I've often gone to subscribe on people's channels without realizing I'm already subscribed, and then when you hit the button, it then unsubscribes you without realizing it. Okay, so anyway, thank you very much for watching. Laters taters.
Oh, you booger!